Factor trinomials of the form ax squared plus bx plus c were the greatest common factor. Before we begin, please notice the pencil icon in the lower right corner. Whenever this icon is displayed, it means that we want you to have plenty of time to look over the new information. Please press pause on the video whenever the pencil appears and do the work that you are asked to do. You have learned how to factor trinomials of the form ax squared plus bx plus c. However, there is one more important step that we need to discuss. If the three terms in the expression to be factored have a common factor, then prior to using the four-step grouping number procedure or the trial and error method, we first factor out the greatest common factor from the terms of the trinomial. Let's look at 9x squared plus 3x minus 30. We first factor out the common factor 3 from each term of the trinomial. This gives us 3 times the quantity 3x squared plus x minus 10. We can then factor the resulting trinomial by the grouping method or by the trial and error method. This trinomial factors into the quantity x plus 2 times the quantity 3x minus 5. Therefore, 9x squared plus 3x minus 30 equals 3 times the quantity x plus 2 times the quantity 3x minus 5. It is quite easy to forget to look for a greatest common factor as the first step of factoring a trinomial. Therefore, it is a good idea to examine your final answer in any factoring problem and ask yourself, can I factor out a common factor from any binomial contained inside a set of parentheses? Often, you'll be able to see a common factor at that point if you missed it in the first step of the problem. Let's try an example. Factor 12x squared plus 26x plus 10. First, we factor out the greatest common factor, which in this case is 2. We now have 2 times the quantity 6x squared plus 13x plus 5. This trinomial factors into the quantity 2x plus 1 times the quantity 3x plus 5. We now know that 12x squared plus 26x plus 10 equals 2 times the quantity 2x plus 1 times the quantity 3x plus 5. Great, let's go ahead and work through another example. Factor 24x squared plus 30x minus 9. First, we factor out the greatest common factor, which this time is 3. We now have 3 times the quantity 8x squared plus 10x minus 3. This trinomial factors into the quantity 4x minus 1 times the quantity 2x plus 3. So the trinomial 24x squared plus 30x minus 9 equals 3 times the quantity 4x minus 1 times the quantity 2x plus 3. Let's take a break for a moment and listen to our helpful hint from Coach Crawford.
Always look for a common factor before performing any other factoring step. Factor out the greatest common factor first, then try to factor the remaining trinomial.
Thanks, Coach. Using active video lesson number 1, I want you to practice on your own. Factor 30x squared plus 5x minus 5. Please press pause on the video until you are ready to check your answer. Let's check your answer step by step. Factor 30x squared plus 5x minus 5. Did you start by factoring out the greatest common factor of all three terms? You should have 5 times the quantity 6x squared plus x minus 1. Then, did you factor the resulting trinomial into the quantity 3x minus 1 times the quantity 2x plus 1? Did you find that 30x squared plus 5x minus 5 equals 5 times the quantity 3x minus 1 times the quantity 2x plus 1? If you answered no, go back and check your work carefully. On active video lesson number 2, factor 40x squared minus 28x plus 4. I want you to try this on your own. Don't forget to factor out the greatest common factor as your first step. You may press pause on the video until you are ready to check your answer. Did you find that 40x squared minus 28x plus 4 equals 4 times the quantity 5x minus 1 times the quantity 2x minus 1? If not, go back and try the problem again. There may have been something you missed. You now have a good understanding of how to factor trinomials of the form ax squared plus bx plus c with the greatest common factor. Be sure to write